Rangers have signed hundreds of players over the years, including some huge names from the Premier League and international football, but while certain stars became Ibrox legends, others passed through so quickly that their Rangers careers now feel like some sort of Mandela effect. Today, we're looking at 10 high-profile players who pulled on the Rangers shirt, but who plenty of supporters might have completely forgotten about. Some stayed for a season, some lasted only months, and others barely made it through the front door. We'll start with Henning Berg, a defender with one of the strongest CVs on this list. He'd won the Premier League with Blackburn and was also part of Manchester United's treble-winning squad in 1999. Berg joined Rangers from Blackburn in 2003 as Alex McLeish rebuilt after Barry Ferguson's departure. He played 30 times during his only season at Ibrox before retiring. Considering everything he'd achieved in England, his Rangers spells become a surprisingly small footnote in his career. Another Norwegian who arrived that same summer was Egil Østenstad. Most Premier League fans will remember him from Southampton, where he spent several seasons leading the line before later joining Blackburn. Rangers picked him up on a free transfer in 2003, but it never really worked. Østenstad made 17 appearances, mostly from the bench, and scored only twice. He was back in Norway with Viking the following year, leaving behind one of those Rangers spells that's incredibly easy to forget. Francis Jeffers had once been regarded as one of England's most exciting young strikers. He'd broken through at Everton, earned a big money move to Arsenal, and even scored on his only England appearance. By 2005, his career had stalled, so Rangers brought him in on loan from Charlton. The hope was that Scotland might revive him, but he didn't score once in 14 appearances. The loan ended in December, and Arsenal's famous fox in the box quietly disappeared from Ibrox. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Olivier Bernard's strongly associated with Bobby Robson's Newcastle side. At his best, he was a great attacking left-back who played in Europe and helped Newcastle challenge near the top of the Premier League. He joined Rangers in 2005 and featured during the club's Champions League campaign, but his time in Glasgow never really took off. Bernard made only 15 appearances before leaving after one season. For someone who'd been so recognisable at Newcastle, his Rangers chapter feels almost completely erased. Philippe Senderos arrived at Rangers with serious pedigree. He'd played for Arsenal, AC Milan, Fulham and Aston Villa, represented Switzerland at 3 World Cups, and collected more than 50 international caps. Unfortunately, Rangers fans got a very brief and painful version of him. Senderos was sent off on his competitive debut in a 5-1 defeat against Celtic, and he made only 4 appearances altogether. He left after just one season. Emerson was one of the most recognisable characters from Middlesbrough's wild mid-90s team, alongside Juninho and Fabrizio Ravanelli. He later played for Deportivo La Coruña and Atletico Madrid, so there was real pedigree when Rangers signed him in 2003. He was brought in after Barry Ferguson left for Blackburn, which was never an easy job. Emerson made only 18 appearances, although he scored a brilliant Champions League goal. By the following summer, he was gone, with that goal basically his entire Rangers highlight reel. Marcus Gayle was a familiar Premier League forward during the 90s, spending years with Wimbledon and becoming part of that tough team nobody enjoyed facing. Rangers signed him from Wimbledon in March 2001 for close to £1 million, but the move barely lasted long enough to register. Gayle made only 4 competitive appearances, didn't score, and was sold to Watford that summer. Considering how often he appeared on Match of the Day, it's genuinely strange seeing Rangers listed among his clubs. Paul Rideout's remembered for one huge moment, scoring Everton's winner against Manchester United in the 1995 Cup final. Before becoming an Everton hero though, he'd briefly been a Rangers player. Rideout arrived from Notts County in January 1992 and helped Rangers win the league and Scottish Cup. Despite that, he made only 15 competitive appearances and scored once before moving to Everton that summer. 3 years later, he was scoring at Wembley, while his Rangers spell had already faded from memory. Thomas Myhre became a familiar Premier League goalkeeper with Everton, Sunderland and Charlton, while also earning more than 50 caps for Norway. His connection to Rangers, though, is much harder to remember. Myhre arrived on a short loan from Everton in 1999 when Rangers needed cover and goal. He made only 6 appearances before returning to England, and because his stay was so brief, he's often missing from discussions about Rangers goalkeepers. Even Everton fans might struggle to remember that little Glasgow detour. We'll finish with Phil Bardsley, who went on to make hundreds of Premier League appearances for Sunderland, Stoke and Burnley. Before becoming that experienced, hard-tackling fullback, he was a young Manchester United player looking for regular football. Bardsley joined Rangers on loan in August 2006 and scored against Falkirk. But after a training ground disagreement with Paul Le Guen, he quickly fell out of favour. He returned to United after only 7 appearances, making Rangers a tiny part of his long top-flight career. So how many of those 10 did you genuinely remember playing for Rangers? Let me know in the comments and tell me which name caught you out the most. More importantly, do you know of any other high-profile player we might have forgotten? There must be a few more hidden away in the Rangers history books.